Okay, let's unpack this.
Right.
Imagine two entirely different Americas.
Yeah.
Each defined by a competing story.
A story about who owns the land and, crucially, who truly belongs.
Exactly. Our deep dive today, using your sources, goes right into this big ideological split.
Yeah, it's a profound clash.
And these two narratives, they're not just ideas, are they? They're colliding out there in policies on the ground.
Absolutely.
Our mission really is to pull out the key insights from the material you've provided, to understand these two, fundamentally irreconcilable moral systems that are really clashing right now.
And what's fascinating looking at the sources is how different their understanding of history is. And justice.
Yeah.
And, like you said, identity.
Okay, so let's start with one side.
Okay, so one perspective sees the United States as fundamentally built upon stolen land.
Yeah.
Your sources really emphasize this.
Stolen land, okay.
And it's not just a historical thing. It draws a direct line, a moral line between how indigenous peoples were displaced by settlers and the presence of undocumented immigrants today. It equates those situations morally.
So in that view, the descendants of the original European settlers, they're seen differently.
Yeah, the sources suggest they're seen, historically speaking, as illegal occupants themselves. That's the framing.
Wow. Okay, so that creates a whole different moral, maybe even legal framework.
Exactly. The sources detail this argument where historical injustice creates this kind of inherited criminal legacy for those settler descendants.
Right, and that legacy then justifies what?
It establishes a moral claim, according to this view, for contemporary undocumented immigrants. A claim to benefits, welfare, housing, support paid for by taxes on those same settler descendants.
That sounds incredibly confrontational.
It is deeply confrontational, and some sources suggest it sets the stage for, serious civil conflict down the line.
And we see this playing out. Sanctuary cities, for example.
Precisely. The sources point to sanctuary city policies as the practical application of this moral code. They actively challenge, traditional ideas about sovereignty, property, who gets to be here legally.
Okay. That's one side, deeply rooted. How does it clash, then, with the other view? What's the counter-narrative?
Well, this brings us right to the opposing camp. Your sources label them the Patriots.
The Patriots, okay.
And they strongly defend that historical displacement of native peoples by European settlers and later Asian settlers, too.
Defend it how?
They assert what the sources call the right of conquest.
Right of conquest.
Yeah, it's a principle often tied in these sources to a belief that more technologically advanced cultures had a historical, maybe even a natural right to expand, to develop lands used by what they call subsistence societies.
And this isn't just history either, right? How does it show up now?
It finds its modern voice, according to the sources, in the current administration's pretty aggressive enforcement actions. Think ICE actions, the big push for mass deportations we're seeing.
So connecting the dots,
Yeah.
Your sources are saying the administration, using ICE, maybe even talking about the military, is actively going after the foundations of these sanctuary cities, trying to dismantle them.
That's the sources indicate, yes. Actively challenging and, dismantling the policies and the whole moral framework behind them.
So the policies built on that stolen land idea, they're being systematically targeted.
Removed.
It's a direct, practical confrontation. And what really stands out in the source material is the conviction behind it.
The eviction.
Yeah. For those who embrace modernity, capitalism, wealth, comfort, who, as your sources phrase it, just wouldn't see a subsistence culture as an equal. There's no need to apologize, no hesitation about getting rid of those sanctuary city ethics. It's done, the sources say, with real conviction. Pride, even.
So just two fundamentally clashing worldviews.
That's the core takeaway from the sources.
Okay.
A profound ideological chasm. Not just different opinions, completely different. Irreconcilable moral systems on a collision course. Okay. So, reflecting on all this, what does this mean for you listening?
Yeah.
We've basically mapped out, from your source material, two incredibly opposed ways of seeing land, immigration, history.
Both with deep roots and huge implications today.
It's really a fight over the definition of the nation itself. Who belongs? What's legitimate?
And the question the sources kind of leave us hanging with is this. What does it actually mean for a society when its core moral systems aren't just disagreeing, but actively trying to dismantle each other?
Right. What kind of future does that carve out for ideas like belonging or justice?
Definitely something to mull over.
Yeah.
Keep it in mind as you see things unfold.